Hello again, everybody. This is Rocket Rick J18 from the launching pad. And today I'm going to talk to you about hockey cards. And what I've got is a collection of cards that I've accumulated in recent weeks, maybe even as long as a month ago. And also, there are two cards that I recently added to my graded card collection because I sent them to SGC 6 weeks ago and I just got them back today. So I thought this was a timely moment to give you an update on the state of my collection. As you know, I've recent newbie for hockey cards, and it's not, I don't have an extensive collection yet by any means, but I think I have some fairly decent players that I've known about for a long time. Obviously, I grew up when the only six teams in the NHL were the original six. Montreal and Toronto, New York, Boston, Detroit, and Chicago. So that's where we were, and watched some hockey when I was in high school because the Flyers came to town, and they were on. Back then, not so much basketball was on TV. Football was over. Baseball hadn't started, so there wasn't a lot of sports other than the wide world of sports going on at that particular time of the month. Um, Basketball only had three sets of cards: in 1948 Bowman, the 1957 Tops, and the 1961 Fleer. And there weren't any basketball. There wasn't any basketball hardly on TV except very occasionally, and there wasn't any weren't any cards to speak of. You didn't have an annual card set coming out for basketball till some years later. I guess the other thing that I would mention is that I grew up in northern Delaware, not far from Philadelphia, so we got all the Philadelphia channels on TV, including their UHF channel, which for the uninitiated stood for ultra high frequency. They were in the just outside the FM bandwidth, where they ranked the TV signals in kilohertz or megahertz instead of kilohertz. And then, but Philadelphia at the end of the 1960, I want to say maybe 63, 62 season, picked up sticks and moved to San Francisco. They played in the Cow Palace for many years out there. Nate Thurman was there, and Al Addles, I think, was they were the two big players that I remember from that team. And So then a couple of years later, the Syracuse Nationals moved to Philadelphia and changed their name to the 76ers. And they had Hal Greer. And uh, so Wilt Chamberlain, who went to San Francisco with the Warriors, came back to be with the 76ers. So it was a homecoming for Wilt. So that's what was going on. So that was my introduction to hockey, my reason for my getting interested. Philadelphia, new team, uh, original expansion, 1967. No sports, no major sports really being played other than basketball, and it wasn't on TV very often. So, um, you know, the Sixers had ended up doing very well in 1967. They won the NBA championship. The only one that Wilt was able to win before he went to the Lakers, and he won another one there in 1972. I want to say, yeah, 1972. So anyway, that's the story. So here we go. Let's turn and look at some cards. I'm sorry for having to do so much adjustment. So the first card I have to show you is the 1952 Parkhurst Alex Del Vecchio. Alex came up with the Red Wings, and I believe that 51 was his real rookie card because that's when he was a rookie. The other cards, Gordie, Howe, Terry Sawchuk, Sid Abel, they'd been around for a while by the time 1951 rolled around, and so they're called rookie cards, but they were really just the first Parkhurst cards. And so this is the second year card. Unlike the first year cards, they have a stat line on the back for the player's record and a little bit of demographic statistics and a little advertisement for an album to hold the 1952 set. So it's pretty cool. This is the first from Parkhurst. And sorry about that. I'll get a little arthritic twinge in my thumb from time to time. So this is in a SGC 3 holder. Some of these are in SGC holders, and some of them, like this one, are in PSA holders. No rhyme or reason, just the way they come up. So this is Doug Harvey of the Montreal Canadiens, and he's in this is in a PSA 3 flip, pretty badly off-centered, as many of these cards were. And again, little stat line there. this would have been Doug Harvey's second year card because it was only the second year of Parkhurst, but he'd been in the league for 4 or 5 seasons by the time this season rolled around. So that's number 14, Doug Harvey. These are both Hall of Famers so far. The next one is from the 1953 Parkhurst set, and this is Tim Horton of the famous fast food chain, which we have one right here in Vienna, just down the road from where I live. This is in an SGC 1.5, and this is number 13, card number 13. And Horton, of course, is with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And he played for a good many years. And he died young, or fairly young. His playing career was over, but still a young man. And so I may try to collect the entire 53 set. Here's Doug Harvey again in the 1953 set, again with the Canadiens. Now these are full-sized cards, so again they have the preceding year's stat lines. They are bilingual, so that the top half of the card is in English and the bottom half in French. And Harvey was a defenseman, Hall of Famer. This is also the from the 1953 set, and so far this is the only playing days card that I have of Maurice the Rocket Richard, and he's with Elmer Locke, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. This is in a PSA 2 flip, card number 30. And the next card is a duplicate, but in an SGC 1.5 flip. Card number 30, Maurice the Rocket Richard. And next is Earl Rival, who is with the Detroit Red Wings. He was a center in between Sid Abel and Alex Del Vecchio. And this is card number 36. It does list him as a center, so which is correct. Card number 36. Next is, and Earl's not a Hall of Famer. And the next player I'm going to show you is definitely not a Hall of Famer. And although his card doesn't look too bad, it actually looks pretty good. But the back of the card has some paper loss. Big spot up here, small spots down here. I like, reminds me that in French the word gauche means left, or so that's the left wing. Larry Leswick, or Lonnie Leswick. Number 45 is next, and again, it's not a Hall of Famer. This is card number 45, and Betty White was a defenseman. And next, we've got goalie, goaltender Terry Sawchuk with the Red Wings. Card number 46. Card number 52, still with the Red Wings, is left wing Ted Lindsay. So this is Terry Sawchuk in a SGC3. And this is Ted Lindsay in a PSA2. And finally, we have card number 53, which is Gump Worsley, originator of that famous line when asked a challenging question. Lauren Worsley replied, "Well, what's a gumper to do?" And so that's a tag that stuck on him. This is in a PSA 4, card number 53. And Gump started out with the New York Rangers. And here's a card from the 1954-55 set. And it's Harry Lumley in the goal there, and that is Gordie Howe. So this comes from a series of cards from 91 to 90 to 100, so 10 cards at the end of the 54-55 set of 100 cards total. Last 10 are action shots, and so that's number 92. And it reports that Lum stops Howe with help of Stewart's stick. So, the card number 95 is appropriately titled "Harvey Takes a Nosedive," and that, of course, is Doug Harvey. And let's see, he's playing against the Maple Leafs there. And I believe that this is the first year, or maybe the next season is the first year that anyway, it's right along in here, one way or the other. That Parkhurst made cards only for the two Canadian teams and the Detroit Red Wings, who is so close to Canada that if you want to go from the radio station to the Detroit radio station, you have to go south, and the first city that you come to when you go south is Windsor, Ontario. So we actually, trivia question. If you leave Detroit and head south, what's the first country you come to? And the obvious answer is Mexico, but it turns out it's not Mexico, it's Canada. So, which I think is pretty cool. Here's card number 100 in the set, and this is the Red Wings against the Canadiens. And it says, Sawchuck stops Boom Boom. And Boom Boom is Bernie Geoffrion, the Montreal Canadiens. I believe he was a winger. I'm not 100% sure, but he got his nickname Boom Boom because his shot when it hit off the boards surrounding the rink, it sounded like a boom. So anyway, Terry Sawchuck was one of the great goalies of his time, along with Harry Lumley and Gump Worsley. And the Montreal goaltender at that time was I can't remember his name, but he's McNeil, I believe. So I got a couple more cards to show you. These are all Gordie Howe cards. Gordie played a long time, and so he came up in 1947, and this is his 1969-70 season card. Like the hockey stick down the side there and the Red Wing logo. And this says that Gordie scored 44 goals and had 59 assists for 103 points. And that's not too bad considering this was his 24th season. Wow. This is a card from his 1970-71 season. Did I say that right? Yes. And so this is, 1970-71 season. And he, of course, was a right wing. So this is his, 25th season. But he wasn't finished yet because his two sons came into the NHL and he played with them in the World Hockey Association for several years after he announced his first retirement. And he stayed with them when they went into the NHL right at the 1970s. And this is his 1979-80 card, which marked his, I guess you'd say, his 32nd year in professional hockey. And he's, if you watch Mike Canadian Cards, he shows a lot of TTM cards, and I was watching his channel 2 days ago, and I believe it was 2 days ago, and he showed 2 TTM returns from Mark and Marty Howe, who were Gordie's teammates on the Hartford Whalers this season. And so their cards that were shown by Mike were from the same set, which I think is absolutely remarkable. Hockey is a very physically demanding sport. And for you to have a guy that's in the 50s still playing um, that long into his career, and there are just some legendary stories about Gordie Howe. And, you know, one of them involved another player whose name I've long since forgotten, that he checked Gordie Howe on the boards and gave him a pretty hard thump. And Gordie turned around and dropped his gloves, and the kid said, he was a young man, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Howe," or something like that. And Gordie decked him without comment. So, that's adding more legend to his already legendary status as the creator of the Gordie Howe hat trick, which, as most of you probably already know, is a goal, an assist, and a fight in the same game. So that's what I have to show you. I'm having a lot of fun with the hockey cards, and we'll turn the camera. And just comment that this is a lot of fun for me, because I can collect exactly what I want. I'm not really trying to accumulate sets, so I don't have to buy anything that I don't want to buy just because it's in a set. Notwithstanding my earlier comment that said I'm toying with the idea of collecting the 53 set, 50 A, because it's my birth year, and B, because it's really the first set that I consider to be affordable. Now, I can pick up a 52 card or even a 51 card from some players. Whether or not I decide to take the plunge and buy a Gordie Howe rookie card, if you want to call it that, first Parkhurst card, I don't know. Depends on how much fun I think I'm going to have. So that's what I have for you. This is Rocket Rick J18 from the launching pad, wishing that all your collecting dreams come true.